What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Nacho Wrestling, and in today's video, we are going to be taking a look at another one of the key ingredients to professional wrestling: the talking. The stick, the gift of gab, or promos. Whatever you want to call it, promos have become a somewhat divisive part of the professional wrestling world. And in today's video, we are going to be taking a look into why I think promos are and should not be questioned, but looked at as an important piece to the professional wrestling puzzle. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay up to date on all things Nacho Wrestling. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, we need to define what promos are. This may sound stupid, but some fans think promos only happen when a wrestler is out in the live crowd with a mic talking to them and the fans at home. While this is most obvious form of a promo, there are several more. A promo can occur as the aforementioned in front of a live crowd form. Maybe it's a pre-filmed vignette played on the big screen. It could be a backstage interview with a reporter. But what the fuck is the point of a promo? The point of a promo could be anything, from advancing the feud between two wrestlers. It could be to kick off a feud between two acts. Could be to advance and evolve a character after a major story beat occurred. No matter what the point of the promo, there is a key underlying point to all of them, and that is character development of some kind. A promo can not only have character development, but it can also have impact on storylines in several different ways. On the positive side, you have a promo's ability to elevate a feud to the next level. Next level of what, you ask? Next level of severity or next level of heat. A good example of this would be the promo from Hangman Adam Page on Dynamite when he burnt Swerve's house down. Another one could be the promo battles between The Rock and John Cena leading up to the once-in-a-lifetime match. On the other end of the spectrum, you have promos that completely kill any of the heat that the feud had, or, worse, brings it down to an even lower level than it was already at. An example of a promo like this that still sticks with me to this day is the promo from Bayley This Is Your Life segment featuring Alexa Bliss. I do not think I need to talk about this segment, as it is still regarded as one of the worst promos from modern era WWE and still talked about to this day. Now that we've talked about the basic importance of wrestling promos, let us take a look at some key elements that make not only a good promo, but a great promo. When it comes to crafting a great promo, you really only need one thing: John Cena. Nah, I'm kidding. You need more than John Cena. Isn't that right, Austin Theory? For great promos, you need to treat them like baking cookies. You have to follow the directions and use the right amount of each ingredient, because if you use too much of one thing, the cookies will turn out tasting like 2 packs of ass. Those ingredients for a great promo include character consistency, emotional connection, catchphrases and hooks, delivery and timing, and storytelling. When it comes to character consistency, you need to have the character talking align with the foundations of their gimmick. For example, a heel like Jack Perry is not going to come out in his hometown crowd and cut a face promo. This is because the character that Perry is currently playing should not be accepting of any cheers from the fans as the scapegoat of AEW. On the face side of things, it would not make sense for someone like Cody Rhodes to cut a heel promo in the middle of a feud with another face. A perfect example of having their promos align with their character is Swerve Strickland. Swerve, who has gone through a heel to face turn over the past year and change, has had this ability to make you believe and understand that he's still a sadistic son of a bitch, while also explaining that he may be loved by the fans and accepts that love, but does not let it lose his killer instinct. When it comes to emotional connection, like how there are a plethora of different emotions, there are different emotional connections people can have to promos. Wrestlers can make fans feel angry for something happening to them by coming out and airing their grievances. They can make wrestlers feel sad when they talk about losing the big one, or even retiring. I think everyone knows who I want to say is the best at emotionally connecting with the fans, and that, of course, is the motherfucking GOAT himself, Bryan Danielson. Whether he was a heel or face, Bryan was able to connect with the crowd and make them feel some type of way. As a bad guy, you wanted to see him get his ass beat and take the loss. And as a good guy, you wanted to see him get the win. But if you were me, you wanted to see him get the win no matter what. And a lot of this has to do with his ability on the mic to connect with everyone. But another name that some OG Nachoholics might find surprising for me to mention is CM Punk. Phil, just like Bryan, is able to make everyone in the arena feel something when he is on the mic, whether this was as the straight-edge savior or as the seemingly permanent babyface in the WWE. The next two ingredients I'm going to lump in together because I believe they go hand in hand, and that is catchphrases and hooks that wrestlers use in their promos, as well as the overall delivery and timing. Having a line that helps get the crowd invested in what you're about to say goes a long way. Look at LA Knight. When you hear "let me talk to you," most of us are immediately intrigued in what is about to be said on the mic. Delivery and timing also play a huge role in catchphrases because sometimes you need to add it in the middle of your promo. My favorite example of mastering delivery and timing is John Cena's fine speech line. Because everyone knew once Cena uttered those words, he was about to dissect the poor bastard's career standing in front of him. The final ingredient to a great promo is storytelling. Now, there has been huge debates within the cesspool known as the IWC on if storytelling is important to wrestling. And if you think it is not, then why the fuck are you watching wrestling? And before you say for the wrestling, duh, I know that, but professional wrestling is at its core a multimedia form of storytelling. Storytelling and wrestling are like cake and icing. Sure, by itself, cake is good, but when it has icing on it, it's just a little bit better and not as dry and bland. With that analogy being said, storytelling is primarily driven by the promos. That is why in 2017-2020 WWE, it was so abysmal. Every promo seemed to spin the wheels rather than truly advance any story. And on the other hand, that is why AEW in 2021 was so good, because there was an almost perfect balance of storytelling and wrestling, and the stories were advanced through promos and in-ring work. So we've talked about the general definition of what promos are or can look like within professional wrestling, and we've also talked about what it takes to make a great promo. Now let's take a look at some of the best and most memorable promos and some of the greatest talkers in professional wrestling as well. And let's go ahead and get the most talked about promo in wrestling history out of the way right now. The Austin 316 promo not only served as the catalyst for what made Stone Cold Steve Austin the biggest draw in professional wrestling, it is also a masterclass for what it takes to cut a good promo. Austin, who was already a heel at this point, was able to double down on his heel behavior and capitalize on the fans slowly enjoying his in-ring work up until that point as the ringmaster and Steve Austin, and make them completely rethink their feelings on him after that promo. I'll be honest, this promo is talked about so much that I can't stand it anymore, and I honestly hate talking about it. Also, looking at Stone Cold in a vacuum, I'm not too sure if he is the best talker in the Fed. Don't get me wrong, he is good and he is up there as one of the greats, but not Cena or Rock levels of good. Speaking of Rock and Cena, you can honestly take your pick for memorable moments from both men. For Rock, all of his Rock concerts have some sort of memorable line or moment in there, and for Cena, you could look at his work with Roman Reigns and see his true abilities. The ability to not only dissect the character of the big dog, but then to come back to Roman as the head of the table / tribal chief and give a somewhat reasonable explanation as to why Roman has made the change in his character. Cena really was a master on the mic and no one could touch him. Shifting gears to look at AEW, let's go ahead and talk about MJF. MJF was once regarded as one of the best promos in all of the business, and for a brief moment being regarded by some as the greatest promo in modern pro wrestling. Nowadays, he seems to be relying too much on the shock value of saying obscene and somewhat racist remarks about every wrestler he faces. I bring up MJF not only as an example of a great promo, but also as an example of what happens when you focus too much on one of those ingredients rather than trying to balance all of them out. While on the topic of AEW wrestlers, let's talk about a former AEW wrestler in CM Punk. First of all, there's the return promo on the first episode of Rampage, which felt like the man Phil came out and just spoke genuinely from the heart. There was the intense promo battles with MJF, and of course there was the time he shot on Hangman Page. Punk in AEW just had a way to make everyone feel some way, whether it was pre-brawl out or post-brawl out, and the fans were eating out of Punk's hand no matter what. Punk in WWE, though, is a completely different story. Jumping back to the subject of MJF, let's talk about some of the common pitfalls that occur with promos. The reason I bring MJF back up is because in the past year and some change, he has gone through a serious dip in quality in his promos. A lot of this can be attributed into falling into a similar style of rhythm and style of promos despite the variety of feuds and stories that he's had. A lot of people are guilty of the same thing, falling into a pattern and becoming complacent with their promos. But more than that, the wrestlers sometimes end up falling into three common issues with their promos. Those three things are overcomplicating the message of their promos, lack of authenticity, and ignoring the audience reactions. Overcomplicating the message is where I talk, hopefully, for the last time, about MJF. MJF is known for cutting long-winded promos and often contributing lines and full section of his promos to bash on the fans or bash on Tony Khan for no real reason and no advancement of the story he's in at the time. An example of this would be his promos during his American Championship run, a gimmick which was obviously a temporary one, but it felt like he spent more time ragging on the fans than he did on Will Ospreay. The next major pitfall that wrestlers often run into when cutting promos is a lack of authenticity. This can happen for a number of reasons. Sometimes it may be because the character the wrestler is portraying is just something they do not want to do. A perfect look at that would be CM Punk during his 2014 WWE run. You could see during this time that he was not interested in doing anything, and that was plainly obvious during his time on the mic and in the ring. The last major pitfall wrestlers can fall into is a lack of acknowledgement of the fans' reactions. Plain and simple, wrestlers have an important third party involved in their stories. And it is us, the fans. Wrestling fans have a variety of reactions to promos. It is the job of the wrestlers to engage with the fans in some way, shape, or form during their promo. As a heel, this could be acknowledging the boos, or if they are getting cheered, acknowledging that, and try to get the crowd back to booing you. And the same thing could be said for the face. A wrestler who is often accused of lacking in audience engagement would be Ricochet. While I and many others love the in-ring work provided by Ricochet, anytime he picks up the mic, I myself find it a bit of a struggle to feel like he is truly talking to us. This is not to say that Ricochet is a bad promo, just that he needs to find something on the mic that sticks out the way his in-ring work was able to stick out. In conclusion, promos are an integral and multifaceted component of professional wrestling, shaping not only the immediate narratives but also the broader landscape of the wrestling world. As we've explored, the significance of a well-crafted promo cannot be overstated. It's the tool through which characters are developed, feuds are escalated, and stories are advanced. A great promo is more than just a few impactful lines. It requires a harmonious blend of character consistency, emotional connection, effective catchphrases, and impeccable delivery. The art of storytelling in promos enriches the overall wrestling experience, making it more engaging and memorable for fans. Whether it's The Rock's electrifying charisma, John Cena's precise timing, or Bryan Danielson's profound emotional resonance, the ability to connect with the audience through the mic is what sets apart the legends from the rest. Yet, even seasoned pros can stumble. MJF's recent struggles highlight the pitfalls of overcomplicating messages or losing authenticity, while Ricochet's challenges underscore the importance of engaging with the audience. These missteps remind us that even the most talented performers must continually refine their craft to avoid complacency. Ultimately, the magic of wrestling promos lies in their power to captivate and influence. They are the lifeblood of the wrestling narrative, transforming mere athletic contests into epic stories of heroism, rivalry, and triumph. As we continue to enjoy and critique these promos, let's remember that they are a vital element of the professional wrestling puzzle, one that, when executed with skill and passion, elevates the entire sport. Thanks for joining me in today's video. What type of promos do you like to see in professional wrestling? Or do you not want to see any promos at all? Let me know down in the comments below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and stay up to date on all things Nacho Wrestling. And I will see you guys next time.